That's right. It is Good Morning Football, everybody. Welcome in Wednesday after Super Bowl 60. Jamie Manti, Mike G, and Kyle. Guys, great to see you in New York City, specifically Mike Garafolo. We only had John for a cup of coffee last week when we were all in San Francisco. How was your Super Bowl week on the Team Insider?
Great. I thought San Francisco did a great job. I think some folks were a little perturbed about some of the logistics, but those were the folks that had to go from Santa Clara to San Francisco. We were, thankfully, the insiders pretty much the entire week staying in the city of San Francisco. You could walk everywhere. It was great. Did a great job, Bay Area.
I would be more concerned if people weren't perturbed with logistics. You know, that's just like a very American thing to do at this point when it comes, right, Kyle? Like, you just shake your head. Like, why must people complain about the up and the down? Like, it is what it is.
It's just, it has the same energy of the person who's like, hey, such and such airline, nice job with flight 539. I'm delayed. I'm just like, why are you putting that out there? Why you just keep that to yourself? No one cares. And by the way, the combine's coming up. It's all in your beautiful, beloved Indianapolis, where it's all central and you can get your coffee and it's all everything you want. All right. So just everything. Help is coming. Stop tweeting about that stuff. All right.
Yeah. Just for any future guests, we cross-reference those who shout out airlines in not a good way on social media. And like, you won't be invited on GMFB. Like, we have a standard here, and that's what we like to keep. Don't do that. Flight 539. You'll get to where you need to go. All right. Something we're not perturbed about is the fact that we get to look at the free agent list that is available to us come mid-March here in 2026. Last year, little did we know that one of the domino quarterbacks in Sam Darnold, once he was available from the Minnesota Vikings, became a signature free agent signing. The Seahawks, of course, moved on from Geno Smith, traded him away to the Raiders, and they proceeded to sign Sam Darnold to a 3-year deal worth just over $100 million, money in which he very much earned back for the organization and himself over this season. On Sunday, of course, led the Seahawks to a Super Bowl win. So here are the pending 2026 free agents going into this year. You got Rodgers, Daniel Jones, George Pickens, Mike Evans, Trey Hendrickson, Kyle Pitts, Breece Hall, just to name a few. Here comes the question, as we also look at the Seahawks, who have a few names that are going to walk the parade route today and then immediately call their agent and say, where am I going and how much am I making? This was last year. This is how they built the roster. Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, and DeMarcus Lawrence. Moving forward, though, the Super Bowl MVP and Kenneth Walker III, Reek Woolen, and Rashid Shaheed are three names that are going to hit free agency. So here's the question. Which team becomes an off-season away from taking that next step towards building a Super Bowl roster the way we didn't know it until now? The Seahawks did last offseason, Manti.
Well, it's exactly a step that the Houston Texans need to make. It's not a hop. It's not a skip. It's just a little step. With the defense that you have over there in Houston, you just need an offense that won't lose you the game. You don't even need an offense that's going to win you the game. There's so many times that we saw last year, especially in the postseason, that it was a defense that kept giving you opportunities. Not only giving you opportunities, but was saving you from bad opportunities. When you have a defense like what DeMeco Ryans has over there, you need an offense that just gets the job done and doesn't mess it up. And so if there's one team, guys, that I think is just one offseason away, just one free agency signing away, it's the Houston Texans. Like, you have the greatest gift. There are two teams that had a Super Bowl winning defense. One team won the Super Bowl, and the other team was this team. You just need an offense. Have a run game. Have a play-action pass game. The offensive coordinator, Nick Caley, he comes from the Sean McVay tree. They know how to run offenses. Help C.J. Stroud get to take that next step. We're talking about steps. Help C.J. Stroud take that next step in his career, settle the young man, and hopefully things will look better for the Houston Texans, because what they had in that defense, Mike G, it was special.
They were absolutely special. I thought Matt Burke did a great job as a defensive coordinator. He was my number one vote for assistant coach of the year. Wasn't even a finalist. Thought that was one of the bigger mistakes there. But I'm looking at the Los Angeles Chargers because speaking of voting, Sam Monson, who gave Justin Herbert the one first-place vote for MVP, I think he's still going on social media, defending himself, defending his vote right there.
Go ahead.
But the reason behind that and the thought process behind that, I got one of my 5 votes, by the way, was because he was basically running for his life every single play behind an offensive line that was without the 2 tackles that the hope and expectation is will be back this upcoming season and fully healthy. So it's not like you've got to make an addition there. Just getting those guys back is going to be two enormous, literally, additions to the offensive line. But how about up the middle? Because this is Bradley Bozeman at the center, caught a lot of heat. Mekhi Becton was not quite the addition that they thought he was going to be coming over from the Eagles. Let's fortify that wall in front of Justin Herbert. Let's get ourselves, if we can, Chargers, a center that can move, sort of like Aaron Brewer could do when Mike McDaniel was with the Miami Dolphins. That allows him to do some of those things there. But I don't want Justin Herbert having to drop back and think, by the time I'm at the top of my drop, I got to worry about avoiding a rusher. You do that, and I guarantee you this team is going to be super competitive. They also need to add to the trenches on the other side of the ball as well. But just get that offensive line right, and this team, in my mind, is an absolute contender.
I think it's interesting that you guys both pick AFC teams because we're coming off a Super Bowl in which the starting quarterback for the AFC representative did not play well and the AFC team did not play well. And it's like we got all this wealth in the AFC and all this talent and all these coaches, and that was the best that we could do? Yeah, it was. But I'm going to pick the AFC team that wasn't even close to the playoffs. In fact, only won 6 games last year. I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals, and here we go. Joe Burrow gets injured again last year. Can he be healthy this year? Who the hell only knows? But I just feel like if this next season is going to be the payback season, allegedly, for the Burrow and Allens and Lamars, if you get in, if you win this thing, if you actually have a team on the field for Cincinnati that can reel off a real quality, healthy season for once, they have the number 10 pick. That's what you get when you lose a bunch of games, and you just look at the defense. Please just pick some kind of stud. I don't care if it's a pass rusher, a safety, a corner. The fact of the matter is the 2025 Bengals had Joe Flacco start a game, score 42 points at home, and lose. That should never, ever happen. Imagine Flacco in that game. They lost to the Bears. Puts up 42 off the bench, and they still lost at home. The Bengals are in this position where Joe Burrow is giving these cryptic sound bites about how happy he is, how happy he isn't. What does it mean? What does it not mean? What it means is Joe Burrow was once in a Super Bowl that he lost just by 1 or 2 plays, and the thought was, oh, he'll be back. Joe Burrow, we'll see. I don't know if that's true. I talk about this all the time. I hate that take. Drake may never even sniff another Super Bowl. You know it, and I know it. Joe Burrow may never sniff another Super Bowl. They only get so many whacks at the piñata with these quarterbacks. Him, Josh, Lamar, they're going to exit their prime at some point. It's just they're not going to be the same player. Is this the year? And, Mike, I know you and the insiders have talked a lot about the Bengals last week or so.
Yeah, we have. Trey Hendrickson was one of the guys I talked about on Sunday. I have not ruled out the possibility, and they haven't ruled out the possibility of still using the franchise tag on Trey Hendrickson. Could it be a potential tag and trade situation with him? Potentially. These are the conversations that are going to happen over the next week or two leading up to the scouting combine, and then probably after that, too, because at that point you could still apply the franchise tag. That is one of the big things I'm watching with this Bengals defense, which was not good early in the season. Sneakily, because they were already out of it, sneakily they got better as the season went along. And some of these guys got more reps, but particularly on the defensive side of the ball, because that was the huge question on this team coming in, and they started to get some experience with some of those guys in key roles on that side. If that defense continues the way that they did to end the season, this is a whole different Bengals team that we're talking about going into 2026.
Mike G, it wasn't until Kyle brought up Joe Burrow that I have to ask something, probably for own personal morbid curiosity, but also because we've said a lot of quarterback names today that have something to do with one team in the NFC North. The fact that the Vikings let Sam Darnold go last season, the fact that Daniel Jones spent a couple weeks with that franchise, the fact that we're constantly flirting with the fact that, what if Aaron Rodgers does do what Brett Favre did and goes to the Vikings? And then also, I don't know if it's just my phone and because I talk about the Vikings around it all the time, I feel like I've seen a couple of Photoshop jerseys of Joe Burrow in a Vikings jersey to be repaired up with Justin Jefferson. What are the Vikings doing in free agency, and what are you hearing right now in terms of their quarterback situation? Because it wasn't lost on anybody the fact that on Super Bowl Sunday, Sam Darnold said to Kurt Warner that his biggest impact in his quarterbacking career was Josh McCown, who's still on the staff there. So what's going on with that?
He is still on the staff, even though he had interest from a few other teams, including the New York Giants, to potentially be their offensive coordinator. But he is there, and he has done a great job with some of the quarterbacks that he has worked with, not so much with J.J. McCarthy, but the Vikings now have to come into this season different than last season. Last season, they had the option of bringing in some veteran guys, but they decided, we want J.J. McCarthy to have more of a clear runway. We don't want someone necessarily lurking over his shoulder, and I think that that's in large part what happened with Sam Darnold and why they moved on, or not moved on for him, but basically didn't make the push for him that Seattle wound up making for him. They are going to be interested in some veteran free agents. Now, this has changed over the last couple of weeks because they decided to move from Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah. So now they've got a reboot here with Rob Brzezinski basically running the department leading up to free agency and the draft, and now have these conversations. So nothing has sort of been finalized, and you've got to see which of these free agents and trade partners is going to become available. You mentioned Joe Burrow. Ian talked about this on Sunday. Teams are going to make a run at Joe Burrow, make a run to see if the Bengals are willing to part with Joe Burrow. I don't know in the end that it is going to wind up happening. That's not the Bengals and not the team that you typically would want to see if you're looking to make this move, Kyle. But, their phone will be ringing.
Well, the Vikings are a very fun internet team in the sense that people who like to just throw crap against the wall or make Photoshops or whatever. So among the things, I'm seeing Rodgers to Minnesota, which I think maybe it's just people thirsty for the Favre trifecta again, and they want to have him be in the NFC North. I don't think that's going to happen because we'll talk about this later, but I personally think Rodgers is going to be in the Steelers next year. And then you see the other one that's real sappy and sweet, which is a Kirk Cousins return to Minnesota when he's done with Atlanta and he goes back there. That, to me, is wildly more possible than the Aaron Rodgers one. I just want to make sure, my take on Minnesota is, you stick to McCarthy. That thing is not done yet. And if anybody is guilty of moving on from something before it's done, ask Kwesi Adolfo-Mensah right now where his job is because they moved on from Sam Darnold before it was done. You drafted JJ. He started about a half dozen games, it feels like. A lot of injuries. Don't even think about moving on from McCarthy yet. Don't do it again. If you want to bring in Kirk Cousins, the problem is that Kirk Cousins is almost definitely better than JJ right now. Specifically, you put him back in that stadium with those receivers and that head coach. He's going to be better than JJ McCarthy, and everyone in the locker room is going to know it. So you bring Kirk there to be a veteran. No. He'll be by far, I think, the best quarterback week one in the locker room. So that's a problem, too. I don't think you do that either because I think you're still trying to make JJ work. It's still too new. So I don't think Rodgers, I don't think McCarthy, I don't think Cousins. I think McCarthy and veteran TBD.
I think you just have a really specific window, though, with Justin Jefferson and keeping him happy with all the talent that he has.
Yeah.
But this is why we have all offseason, right? Mike Garafolo, real quick, a couple names that you want to touch on in free agency, big names, Max Crosby, Kyler Murray, before we attend to business that's happening in Seattle today.
Well, those two guys are not free agents. Those guys are potentially available via trade. Max Crosby, with Clint Kubiak being announced as the Raiders head coach yesterday, said he had a chance to have some coffee with Max Crosby and have a conversation with him, communication that's going to have to continue here. Look, all things equal, Max Crosby would be a Raider for life. And he has said that, and he has made that part clear. The problem is, these plays that he's making, I remember that one in particular, by the way, the Jaguars game. I mean, it's just like this Raiders team wasn't competing. It's a goal line stand, and he's jumping across and making a play in the backfield. I'm like, Max Crosby deserves so much
story of his life, right?
Than this. So Crosby's going to have to decide, can we win with Clint Kubiak, potentially with Fernando Mendoza, and can we do it quickly? Because I don't have much time left. Crosby's not going to talk about this stuff publicly. We'll see how it goes privately. As for Kyler Murray, we talked about this with the insiders on Sunday, that the likelihood is that the Arizona Cardinals are going to move on from Kyler Murray. Ideally, you're going to trade him, but, man, there's going to have to be some kind of magic work to get out from under this money that you've got. I mean, $30+ million guaranteed with another trigger. I forget what the number is in 2027 that triggers here.
I also wonder what the market is for Kyler right now. It's kind of, I don't know.
That's the problem.
I don't know what it is.
And whether it's Kyler or whether it's Tua, who's another guy that
I don't know what that is either.
Here, you're going to have to take on some of this money if you think you're going to get something decent back in a return, or you just move on and say, just like the Broncos a couple of years ago, we're going to eat this money this upcoming season to avoid the trigger the following year and realize that this is going to maybe keep us back for a year and then work on from that. It is a tough situation, but we're watching Kyler, we're watching Tua to see if those teams could potentially get out from some of these tough deals.
The current world we live in of instant gratification is every other team is going to be looking for how they can turn a Sam Darnold contract into a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And that's how we're going to operate under free agency here, because that man is going to hoist the Lombardi today at Seattle amongst everybody else within that Seahawks organization. Live look, I believe, at Lumen Field. This is where the Seahawks will begin their parade route. Couple of hours away from the Seattle Seahawks opening their parade route to all fans in the Pacific Northwest. Shout out to them. Congratulations. Have yourself a day. This is Good Morning Football's Wednesday, February 11th, a couple days after Super Bowl 60. Jamie Erdahl, Manti Te'o here in LA. Mike Garafolo joined by Kyle Brandt in New York City. Guys, we have bind or keep trying this hour. Plus, Kyle, missed you yesterday on your travel back to the East Coast. You still have to recap about the halftime from Super Bowl 60.
Yeah, and more importantly, if you thought that was an unusual halftime show, it certainly was unique and memorable. But I have a deep dive back from the 90s, maybe the strangest Super Bowl halftime of all time. You will not believe that this really happened. Ooh. We have the video, we have it all, and I will present it to you. Mike, you're going to love this one. Everyone's going to love this one. Somewhere on a ranch in Wyoming, Harrison Ford is going to love this one. Good morning, sir. It's Good Morning Football.
Oh, I love Harrison Ford. That's right. Welcome in, everybody, on a Wednesday after Super Bowl 60, which means we are inching closer to talking about free agency, combine, draft. But we also need to put a cap on the coaching cycle that just happened to us, because that was a crazy January. Jamie, Manti, Mike G, and Kyle. Mike G, real quick, I want to put you on the spot. Giants just made a new hire this morning, just so we understand how all the coordinators work. What's going on with Harbaugh in New York?
Brian Callahan, the former head coach of the Tennessee Titans, now going to be the quarterback's coach, according to Ian Rappaport. And your boy right here, I told Ian to jump on. I said, jump on the air in your jammies. He said, no, I'm out of my jammies. Prove it, Rappaport. You got 2 minutes to get in front of your camera. A lot of experience on this coaching staff right now. A lot of former play-calling head coach and offensive coordinator experience. You've got Greg Roman on staff. You've got Brian Callahan. Matt Nagy is the offensive coordinator. Twice an offensive coordinator and a play-calling head coach, as well as Tim Kelly, who's been an offensive coordinator 2 times as well. So you've got tremendous experience at the head coach position. Also, all these assistants for Jackson Dart. Got to be loving life if you're that young fella today.
Caught my eye just because Brian Callahan goes to New York and Brian Dable is now in Tennessee, but he's offensive play caller for Robert Saleh, which is one of the 10 new head coaches around the league. So let's talk about this now. There were 10 spots and now there are none. Here they are. New faces and new places. I hate that phrase, but it actually applies in this spot. Some actual rookie head coaches and others, we've seen them before. For example, Mike McCarthy, he returns to his proverbial home in Pittsburgh, coaching the Steelers now. Guys, Manti, first question, which new head coach to you is most intriguing?
Well, when I look at that bottom right part of that graph and I see Mike McCarthy over there going to the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's the most intriguing hire to me. With Mike McCarthy, you have a track record, right? He's been a head coach at multiple places. He's had some good years. He's had some bad years. But then the question is Aaron Rodgers going to get back there? And, you know, him and Aaron Rodgers have a history. Like, how is that dynamic going to work? So when I look at Mike McCarthy going to Pittsburgh, he is from Pittsburgh. I know that means something special to him, as it would to me. But when you're sitting in front of that locker room, it's another head coach that has the experience that I think when you put in front of a T.J. Watt and all of those guys that have played a lot of football, there is a level of respect and admiration there. But I also think that there was an opportunity to bring in somebody who has an unknown track record that could bring some excitement to that locker room. So out of all of those hires, Mike G, it's got to be Mike McCarthy to the Pittsburgh Steelers for me.
McCarthy is intriguing because let's see a Steelers offense that can put up some points, right? We could potentially have that, and I do like the idea of a Rodgers reunion. To me, I was out on Rodgers. Now all of a sudden they pull me back in. Joe Brady, to me, upper left-hand corner, because he's replacing a guy that made the playoffs 8 of the last 9 years. You make that move, and I understand why. Like, we got to get over the hump. We're in Josh Allen's prime here. But Joe Brady was the young fella that was coming along quick, the next the next Sean McVay.
Sure.
I don't know why I said it in that voice, but it's just not my voice, because that's what other people say, right?
Yeah.
So now you've got a partnership with Josh Allen that you know is going to go incredibly from that standpoint, but now you're the head coach. And how's the rest of the locker room? How's the defense going to respond to you? Are you ready for this task? This is not, make the divisional round. Great job in your first year, Joe. No. This is win it all and get there soon. I am fascinated by the Joe Brady hire. Yeah. I think he's going to do a good job. The question is, will he do a great job?
Kyle, you going to go?
Who's next?
You
Oh,
are.
one left.
You know what? I was sitting here thinking about Mike's words. That was a 40-second pregnant pause. What a horrible. I should take a lap.
Your past term, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
You're overdue?
What, 41
No,
weeks?
Kyle, Kyle,
we
you
got to get
should've
this
said,
baby
like,
out.
I thought we were throwing to sound or something.
Yeah, I was waiting for the song.
Maybe we were waiting for some.
Nah,
Yeah.
didn't think that for a second, Jamie.
I love how you said, who's left?
Yeah, I was expecting the
Literally says,
cameraman to answer
only your
something like
name.
that.
Only your name is left.
Well, isn't this kind of appropriate, though? Like,
Oh, no.
All right, so I'm going to say Todd Monken.
He's going to make it work.
Well, isn't it? Because it's like you're kind of waiting around who the Browns going to hire. Does anyone want the job?
can't stand you, bro.
Does anyone want to answer this question?
I can't stand
Let's
you,
go with
Kyle.
Todd. Let's go with Kyle's answer. Why
Sure.
not? I don't want to disparage the Browns or Todd Monken. Listen, it's a heavily weighted job, which with a heavily weighted franchise. This could be cool because he has been around the block and knows offense really well, or it could just be a disaster. We know that. It's Cleveland. They haven't earned the right to hear anything different. Him and Shador. What is the marriage? Him and Dion, what is the marriage? It's an interesting thing. You know, he meets Shador when he gets the job, and they hung it out, and there's this congenial thing where he says, we tried to draft you in Baltimore, and you hear that Shador didn't want to go to Baltimore because he didn't want to back up Lamar, and Shador was in the position of, in the 5th round being like, don't draft me. It's like, we're in the 5th round, Shador, like, we're almost done with this thing. Are you sure? It's a strange backstory, and it's a strange thing because it's Cleveland, and most of the stuff they do does not work. Now, I hate to say that, but, like, tell me differently. This was not the guy at the top of anybody's got to have this guy. He doesn't win the room, but it's not like this scratching WTH kind of hire either. Tenured, pedigreed guy. I just have no idea how this is going to go. Is Shador going to start 17 games next year? Is he going to start 3 games? I have no clue what they're going to do in the draft, where they're going to go. What does it say? Not best hire, intriguing hire. And after further delay, I gave you my answer. I can't wait for the second tee up.
Jamie, it's your turn.
Oh, it is?
Yeah. It's your turn, Jamie.
Nice, Jamie. I like it. Don't play dead air chicken with me. I'll sit here for 60 straight seconds and look at the camera.
Don't play pickle.
day
Don't
I
play
can do that.
Seconds or
Okay,
minutes.
okay.
Don't play
Manti, then Mike G, then Kyle. Here's the question. Manti, which new head coach do you believe is the best position, has the best position? He's in the best position to succeed.
I'm
Manti,
all
you're
flustered
first.
right now, guys. You know who's somebody who won't be flustered is Kevin Stefanski.
There we
Kevin
go.
Stefanski. There's a reason why I wore this shirt, this sweater, was because I really think that Kevin Stefanski going to Atlanta, he's set up for success. It's like that the Transformers movie. You know when that old Camaro drives off in that tunnel and then it turns into that new Camaro? Like Stefanski just jumped into a new Camaro. A new Camaro that got horsepower with Bijan Robinson and
Yeah.
Tyler Algier. You got a franchise quarterback in Michael Penix. You got Drake London, Darnell Mooney. They're trying to sign Kyle Pitts back. The O-line is set. The defense is young. They're fast. So you go into a franchise that just hired a Matt Ryan, that they're trying to get things right. But then the NFC South, guys, we all know this. It's open. It's wide open, right? So not only just the team you have, the roster you have, but you're also going to a division where you could make a huge impact and the ability to make a huge impact in year one, especially when you're a 2-time coach of the year, Mike G. I got to go with Kevin Stefanski.
Yeah, I like that one. Let's see who the quarterback is. I'm not ruling out Kirk Cousins' potential return to Atlanta. We'll see about that. For me, it is John Harbaugh. We just talked about the Giants here and the fact that they have added experience to the coaching staff. There's talent on this roster, man. Every time you look at it, when you're talking about Andrew Thomas at left tackle, Brian Burns, one of the Defensive Player of the Year candidates, Abdul Carter, who really came on late in his rookie season, Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence up front. I haven't even gotten to the offense yet. And the young, promising quarterback of Jackson Dart, who, again, has to be loving the way that this coaching staff is coming together. And then the Tasmanian Devil of Cam Scatteraboo, who should be back healthy and wrecking defenses the way that he did in his rookie year. Plus, you come in and you've got the skins on the wall. This is not what I talked about with Joe Brady. You've got the proven track record of being a coach who's going to compete every single year in and year out. You know the players are going to respond to that. If this Giants team is not in the playoff mix this upcoming season, first of all, I'm going to be very frustrated as a guy who lives in this market and wants competitive football in this market, but also I'll be incredibly shocked.
Back when I used to do radio, I picked up the transition. I got it. We used to do a thing called dead air chicken, which is like how long could you sit there and have dead air? The problem is in major radio shows, even minor ones, there's a system set in where if there's no sound for long enough, this like alert system kicks in, like
Really?
a safety net. Yeah, like you can't just sit there and have silence. They pick it up and something happens. So it was always scary.
When I was working at WIP in Philly, WIP Radio, was a board op, and you'd have, let's say, a remote broadcast, or you'd have a game that was on, so you didn't have to actually sit there at the board. And a commercial break would come, and you'd have carts. Everything was on a cart. It wasn't computerized, and the cart would trip the next one. So you could go to the bathroom, you get yourself maybe 5 commercials and maybe a 3.5-minute break or so. Every time I went to the bathroom was the one time that the cart didn't trip the next one. You'd have dead air, and you're running back to the control room.
Oh, my. And you're pinching off, and it's just can't stop going once it started. It stings. All right, Mike, that was awesome. Good visual too.
That's how it looked.
I actually felt that when you got up.
How it looked. Thankfully, usually an empty building, nobody else was around.
Well, you know who I do not think is going to pee down his leg? Robert Saleh. Robert Saleh, and hear me out. Robert Saleh is set up to see the best in Tennessee because, first of all, they won 3 games last year. Go 7-10 this year, and it's like, excellent job.
Yep.
You more than doubled your win total. Cam Ward looks pretty good. You won 7 games. Excellent. You don't have to do any of this Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson miracle working, all right? I know that's the new world we live in, not down in Tennessee. And I fully believe the Brian Daboll offensive coordinator hiring, I like that better than any of the head coaching hirings in terms of fit, in terms of value. Look at that beautiful shot of the Saleh family and one of their 97 kids looking out the window and into the future. I really do like it, not the least of reasons which I really like Robert Saleh in Nashville rather than in the New York City media market. I really like Robert Saleh with Cam Ward rather than Aaron Rodgers. I think there's some strengths of Robert Saleh. I don't know if looking back, if dealing with that tenacious beast of the New York media and the Aaron Rodgers and all he represents was the best fit for Saleh's skill set and personality. You go down to Nashville, Tennessee, you bring in a coordinator who's seen it all. You have a quarterback, you have a market, you have low expectations in terms of wins. Beautiful. I like Saleh there.
It's last week, Super Bowl 60, a bunch of people were around from the NFL. And Kyle, this won't surprise you at all. I've never heard the word Cabo mentioned more. Like you see a guy, and we already covered how you talk to local or, peer media members at Super Bowl 60. If you run into a player or a coach, you say, what are you doing this offseason? And most of them say, I'm going to Cabo on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I hope they're all watching GMFB from their huts in Cabo.
For sure.
So last question for this one. Offseason vacations are being planned. Which one of these new head coaches would you take on an off-season vacation with, and where would you go?
I can't wait for Kyle's answer.
We might hit Dead Air City on that one. Go ahead, man.
For me, if I ever were to go on a vacation with a group, I'm the type of guy, we don't have to do the same thing, okay? Like, we go to the resort, I'm going to go to this restaurant, you don't have to go there. I'm going to go to this pool, you don't have to go there. However, if we are at a pool, if I need to go to a resort that either have beach access or access to any type of water. When we're at the pool, and if you happen to be sitting next to me, Coach, I got to be able to trust that if I have to go somewhere, like Mike G, maybe run to the bathroom or run to the bar to get a pina colada or something, that I can look at you and be like, Coach Hafley, can you please watch my kids? And you will have this stare that he has right there. Like, he doesn't keep his eye off. He don't blink. Don't blink. Don't blink. Like, watch my kids in the floaty. Make sure that nothing happens. Make sure that no strangers go around them. I need you to protect my kids at all times. I don't want you to be on your phone taking pictures, taking selfies, and then something happens to my kids. Coach Jeff Hafley is one of those guys that if I had to leave and had to go get something, that if I could tell Coach, hey, Coach, please keep an eye on my kids, I know that he's not going to blink. That my 2 kids, Hiromi and Cairo, they're going to be just fine because Coach Hafley is going to be locked in, making sure they're safe, Mike. That's a guy that I'll take with me.
That's a great answer.
He reminds me of a little bit of Coach Buzzcut from Beavis and Butthead. Remember Coach?
Beavis and Butthead, drop and give me 20. I love him, the gym teacher. Yeah, great.
I just asked Kyle if he remembered something from the mid-'90s. Of course he does.
I love
Absolutely. A couple of years ago, I said to my wife, I go, in about 5 years, I'm going on a Scotland golf trip. We're now up against it. I've got to start planning it, really. If anybody's out there, give me a little bit of help. Yeah, I'm going to try to get on. They have the Open next year, though, so that's going to complicate things if I go next summer. And I'm taking Robert Saleh with me. And I haven't, in the last couple of weeks, I've been sort of busy, and I haven't touched a golf club. And I'm just petrified at what it's going to look like when I pick it up again, because you really should be swinging every single day, which is why it drives me nuts that an NFL head coach like this guy with the biceps ripping with the polo gripping onto them for dear life can walk onto a golf course in May or June when he finally, look at that vein popping right there, and shoot a 72 or something. God, it's outrageous that he can do it, especially having coached in a cold weather climate in New York. I mean, forget the golf game itself. Just look at the beauty of some of these shots. And I'm not talking about the fountain and the trees in the background.
From?
Look at that.
This looks like a shoot for Golf
these
Digest.
are amazing picks. You don't want to go on vacation with Saleh, because Saleh's the guy on vacation who's up at 7 a.m. in the fitness center getting a lift in. And by the way, if that fitness center doesn't have heavy enough kettlebells, he'll go off property to find them. And that's just the kind of guy that Saleh is. Mike, I'm going to ask your help for this, and certainly Manti and Jamie as well. I don't know my answer, so could we bring up the menu, please, of the 8 people? And here's what I want. Out of a vacation this time of year, I just want, what do I always want, guys? I want silence. I want the person who's going to speak the least, who's not going to bother me, who's not going to be interested in, hey, let's go do this, let's do that. It's just shut up and let me lie there and get a year older as I bask in tequila and club sandwiches. Mike, who do I want from that group to be with me?
It's down the bottom, and it's not the older guys, it's the younger guys. Shockingly, Clint Kubiak or Jesse Minter.
They're not going to talk to me?
Those are your guys.
No, Jesse's going to talk to you. Jesse going to talk to you. Jesse going to talk to you.
Because they're younger than me. I don't want them chirping at me about their dumb, young nonsense.
Really? I mean, Jesse doesn't seem like the most verbose guy. Maybe he just doesn't like me, Manti. Maybe he just revealed something on national TV.
Fine. I don't care if he doesn't like me as long as he doesn't talk to me. It's fine. That's even better. What do you think, Manti?
Well, Mike G, Jesse's the homie. Jesse Minter going to talk to you. He'll come up to you, talk to you, see how everything is going. Clint Kubiak, I do agree. There's something about Clint, I don't know if he's going to talk to you. So, KB, I put my stamp on Clint Kubiak over there. Jamie, who you got?
All right.
I think there's
Jamie?
somebody in this coaching cycle who has so admirably kept his mouth shut over the last couple of years that I think if he goes on the vacation because he has a new job that he's got to be working through, so he's going to be on the whiteboard anyways. If Kevin Stefanski didn't tell us what was going on in Cleveland when he was in Cleveland, he's certainly not going to talk to Kyle on this vacation. And he's got his own problems he's got to solve in Atlanta. So I think Stefanski might be your guy because, man, I want him to write a book. I needed it yesterday. And but we haven't heard much about his tenure in Cleveland. I don't know if we're ever going to hear it. And, Kyle, I think that's your guy.
I like that answer because I like Stefanski. We're roughly the same age, some similar things in the background. But I got to say, we go back to, that reminded me, I'm a vision of death right now. Go back to Jamie, and come on.
Let me Vanna White this for you.
I'm heavy. All right. I don't think Mike McCarthy's talking very much to me during that trip either. He's older than me. He's probably tired. He's probably going to bed early. He's probably going to get it in terms of, like the swim-up bar or whatever. Not that, or that too. I might go with Big Mike. I don't think he's saying squat. Kind of ornery, right?
No.
Come on.
No.
Yeah.
He's happy as can be. Back in his hometown.
Well, that's true.
Looking like a saint with that halo behind him.
I can't have somebody blubbering crying next to me, though, either. I don't want that either. So Mike might be off the list. Maybe it's Kubiak. I'm not sure.
Maybe.
Todd Monken might be a sleeper.
Kyle,
he might be a sleeper pick.
Who would talk to you the most?
Monken talk your ear off.
And why is it?
Harbaugh.
Why is it Harbaugh? Yeah.
Harbaugh's too famous.
Harbaugh's love to chat.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely better than him than Jim.
Yeah, John. Can I just enjoy my Mai Tai, John, please?
Real quick
John's too
about
famous. I can't have him around.
I saw Jim Harbaugh, like I said, on Super Bowl Sunday, and I said, Coach, are you ready for everybody to become obsessed with the conversations that go down between you and your new offensive coordinator, Mike McDaniel? And he was like, no, I'm obsessed with him. I'm obsessed with how he talks. Like that was the answer I got back. Okay. And I was like, I can't wait for this. This is awesome. The fact that is a mutual obsession that's happening in Los Angeles. But these are the new head coaches across the NFL.
Need it, Hard Knocks.
We need it. We need it. We have a question here in Buy or Keep Trying, and it's about the Olympics. And there has been some interesting coverage of the Olympics over the last 24 hours. It's been awesome to watch. But let's talk about the Steelers real quick. We just got done talking about the 10 coaching vacancies, one of which was filled by former Packers head coach, former Cowboys head coach, now turned Steelers head coach Mike McCarthy. But the question becomes out who's the quarterback. Over the weekend, Mike Garafolo and the rest of our insiders made news reporting Aaron Rodgers is seriously considering a return to the Steelers for the 2026 season. If he decides to play, that would mean, of course, a reunion with his former coach. Fine or keep trying. Aaron Rodgers' return to the Steelers is good for Pittsburgh. Manti, you buying this? You can tell me keep trying.
No, I'm buying it. I'm looking at not only his relationship with Mike McCarthy, which we'll get into later, but his relationship with the guys on the team. I remember Cam Hayward, in last offseason, had some words about the decision on, courting Aaron Rodgers, and it was a complete 180 at the end of this season. He praised Aaron Rodgers, and a lot of the young receivers and skilled position guys over there for the Steelers praised Aaron Rodgers as well. And so when you have that type of connection with your quarterback, you know what he can do. And I thought that he looked way better than he did as a Jet. I mean, he not only as far as his arm talent, but then his ability to scramble. You saw him get a scrambling touchdown there in the low red zone late in the season. But then also understanding his history with Mike McCarthy. They won a Super Bowl together. I mean, there's ups and downs, but they did win a Super Bowl together. So I'm buying this, Mike G, that, Aaron Rodgers' return to the Steelers could be good.
I'm buying it because you look around the quarterback landscape, and this is earlier we were talking about Kirk Cousins a little bit. There's just not enough bodies to fill all these seats right now, especially when we talked about Kyler Murray. It's like, well, who's trading for Kyler Murray and Tua as well? So at some point, you need some option here. And I used the line earlier in the show. I'm going to go back to it. I don't care. Godfather 3, there aren't that many memorable moments in there.
No.
I was done with, I was done. Aaron Rodgers, when he walked off that field, I said, listen, great career. Didn't work out as the Steelers had hoped. Right off into the sunset. And now, hire Mike McCarthy. You look at where they are in the quarterback landscape. Every time I'm out, they pull me back in. I want to see it. I do.
I want to see it too. I'm buying this as well. And by the way, I think we're going to see it. You can't convince me that it's just this random coincidence that the quarterback who just had you in the playoffs by whatever means it was is sitting there and you hire his coach for years and years and years. By the way, it wasn't like Mike McCarthy was this must hire, everyone's fighting for him. They reached out for him. Like, you didn't have to hire Mike McCarthy. You did. Don't tell me that's a coincidence. I have talked with Rodgers in the past. On the air, I've talked with him off the air about Mike McCarthy. I think it's a little bit complicated, but I think it's based mostly in a lot of love that they had and still have. It always felt to me like it was Rodgers looks at him like one might look at their first car. Like, they went through a lot together, put a lot of miles on it, and there's certainly part of that car that makes you roll your eyes a little bit, but there's still so much love. And if you saw that car in the street, like, oh, that's the 91 Ford Tempo I had, you would love to drive it one more time just to get back in the wheel and see what it was like. And I think there's a lot of love for Rodgers. Not all love, and I think that ended badly in a lot of ways. But I don't think it's a coincidence. I think the Steelers had a plan. I think it involves Mike McCarthy because they liked him on his own merit. But I do think there were many, many conversations about Aaron, the relationship with Aaron. And I think week one for the Steelers, when Mike McCarthy is making his debut as Steelers head coach, I think Aaron Rodgers will be starting as their quarterback.
Shout out to my 99 teal Volvo station wagon. Manti, what was your first car?
Yeah.
Cadillac Escalade.
Oh, God, Manti.
It was my rookie year. It was my rookie. I didn't own
NIL back then. What are you doing?
I didn't own a car until I got to the NFL. I was catching rides.
How'd you get around?
I see.
I mean, I caught rides with everybody.
There it is. Sorry, good.
We didn't have NIL
Mike
back
G,
then.
what
It was
about
like,
you?
can I catch a ride?
Mike G, what was your first car?
It was a Mazda 626, I think was the car.
How old were you, Mike? How old were you, Mike?
Black Mazda 626?
Yeah. How old was I?
Yeah.
I had graduated college, so 20.
What was the song you think you pictured playing in that Mazda 626?
It was probably Metallica.
Really?
Was it Reload era?
Yeah,
we had to think we were right around
Reload
there.
was the late 90s. The Load was like 96.
Yeah, it wasn't Load. Okay. Load was still in high school. It had to be Reload. So, yeah.
Okay.
Kyle, was that your
Shame.
real answer? Was that 91 that you mentioned?
No, my answer is insufferable because I was just this letter jacket Abercrombie and Fitch preppy 90s. I had a Jeep Wrangler. I'm sorry. I know it's just like central casting, perfectly predictable Pearl Jam bro. But yeah, that's what I had. I was very fortunate.
Man, thank you for the honesty. We appreciate it. All right, moving on. Biner, keep trying. Up next, if you caught the curling finals at the Olympics going on in Italy right now, then you saw history unfold with the United States earning its first Olympic medal in the mixed doubles curling event. Team USA captured the silver. Mike, you're leading off this next chat. Biner, keep trying.
Yeah.
Curling is the best Winter Olympic sport.
Keep trying. I mean, it's glorified shuffleboard. That's right. Keep shaking your head, Manti. Keep trying. It's glorified shuffleboard, and they have to, because when they show this stuff on tape delay, they skip like 4 innings. All right, let's take it later in the action. Anything you have to skip, you're out for best Olympic sport. I've got Olympics takes. I love the Winter Olympics.
So do
I've been so busy. I haven't had a chance to watch it. It's killing me. I should have watched it.
I watched last night.
Tonight, I'm watching. I'm in. Mike Tirico, you're unbelievable. Again, an Into the Booth winner there.
Yep.
Ski jumping, I love ski jumping. Now, I didn't know, Christine Martin, one of our field producers at NFL Network, she goes over to Italy and she says, I always do ski jumping when I go away. Are you aware of what's happening in the world of ski jumping right now? The latest scandal.
Oh, the injections.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh, no,
Can I say it?
I don't know.
It's a gate. It's a gate. It's a blank gate. Can I say the blank?
Nah.
All right, they're
Ski
injecting
jumpers are
a certain
injecting
part
themselves to become more
of their...
aerodynamic.
But Christine told me it's one of these sports where it's just unbelievable cheating. Like they wear these suits that keep them more buoyant. And now, supposedly, these injections are helping them stay buoyant. But that wasn't even my answer. I didn't even get my answer yet. My answer is the luge, but not the regular luge. The doubles luge.
Doubles luge, yeah.
Because there's nothing more basic than lying down, flying down an ice chute. But hold on.
Look at them.
Hold on.
Wait.
Jump on top of me. I mean, what kid hasn't taken the sled to the hill? You've only got one between the two of you. Let's go down together. I mean, what's the person on top doing? Because the one on the bottom is at least bracing all the weight and maybe doing some of the steering. What's the... That's me right there.
I see those pictures. You know what I think? We need a third person. We need a third person.
How about the four-man luge?
So stack it like a burger, like a triple. Just keep going. Put another person on there. Why not?
The way Mike G was able to navigate those innuendos in that segment are at the actual doubles luge. People going down from side to side and hitting those turns. Oh my God!
I also feel like the top person should flip over and go belly to belly.
I mean, I think, like, do you share a room? Do you practice?
You share a shower. You share everything.
Well, yes, I'm saying, like, let's just practice overnight. You're practicing while you're sleeping. You know, keep
It's an intimate sport. Intimate sport.
Oh my gosh. That looked like when you go tubing, you know what I mean? Like they took tubing and they put them together.
Is there couples double luge? That's what I want to know.
Oh my God.
You see the figure skaters fall in love already?
Do we gotta go anywhere else? Like, why can't we just talk about what Mike G said?
You're gonna have a fight,
one of us
Jamie,
is gonna
right?
get into
I'm not luging with you today. There's no luging.
Well, it's crazy because you watch the figure skaters, the ones who you're like, they have to be a couple, and then you end up you saw them fall in love and they get married. All of a sudden, are you watching the couples luge? Like, there's a lot of team chemistry there, or like I need there to be couples luge. Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
That's incredible, Mike G.
Great job, Mike. Great job.
Way to navigate the injection gate that's happening with the ski jumpers.
That leads into mine. Mine is figure skating. It's not as great as Mike G's. Figure skating is one of those sports that I thought that it's. Let's take something that is already difficult and like going ice skating, and then let's make them do a whole bunch of tricks and flip, and then let's add a partner to it and hold them up in the air and not fall down. I don't know how many of us been ice skating before. I've tried it, and let's just say there's no way that I'm doing this. The picture that we see there's just no way that I'm doing that. But man, Mike G.
The backflip is legal. See, I've got Winter Olympics takes. You just got to love it.
Yeah, we just let Mike G cook.
The backflip was banned for 50 years or something like that because it's too dangerous. Meanwhile, you got the downhill. They're going 91 miles an hour down the hill on torn ACLs. But never mind, you can't do the backflip on ice. Get out of here.
I watched this last night. That's the quad god. He does it in the middle of his routine.
Yeah.
That's an American figure skater. Scott Hamilton used to do it all the time, like at little expos.
Syria Bonali, I think, was the name of the French female skater who did it even though it was banned, even though it was technically. I don't know if he lost points for it.
Well, I watched the quad guy do it last night, and he had a massive score. Like I think he won gold. We turned it off, but he had a score above 100. Curling is the best Winter Olympic sport. I'm going to say yes, just because it is one of the things that all of those other sports are not, which is relatable. It is the sport that you sit there and you say, if I got a few of my friends together and we put our time in, we could put together a curling team. It reminds me of sometimes you see famous people be actors or actresses and that word gets put on them, attainable. It is that valuable thing where someone at home thinks, I might be able to ask that person out in some weird world, whereas whatever goddess or god up there I would never go out with. That's a valuable thing in terms of relatability. You watch that curling at home and those screamers and those sweepers, and you're like, I could never do the half pipe, but I could have a couple paps and maybe do that. And I think that that's cool. And I like to watch people do something that's not so superhuman all the time.
Yeah,
I like it.
Shout out Jared Allen, who went from NFL player to curler at a high level. I've got more to give here. Tarico, have me on tonight. I'll do just like you. Good Morning Football in the morning. I'll skip Insiders later today. I will be on the coverage tonight for NBC.
Good job, Mike.
What about the biathletes, the controversy coming out of the biathlon that's happening with Team Norway? There's an admission to an extramarital
What are they
affair.
injecting?
No idea.
It's not about that. It's about what's happening off of the biathlete playing field. I don't know what you call that. All right, so speaking of team chemistry, I actually can't believe there's two people on that.
KB and Mike G right there.
There's not one.
It's like AI.
Yeah.
They inserted an extra body by accident.
Yeah.
Oh, no.